Hey everyone, this is Adam with Bright Gill. Today we're talking about mid-range wireless. And today that means Shure SLX-D, Sennheiser EW-D, and Audio-Technica 3000 series. Let's get these opened up and see what they're all about. All right, so Shure, Sennheiser, Audio-Technica. All of these units are about $699 US retail price as of September 23. All of these units, I would say, are in the mid-range. Every single brand here has units below this, units above this, as well as like other 2.4 gigahertz units and probably decked band units, but these are all UHF wireless microphones. The units on the table here are all paired with what I would say is their standard capsule. So for the Shure, it's the SM58. For Sennheiser, it's the 835, and for Audio-Technica, that's the 510. If you were to buy those as standard wired microphones, all of those are their $99 microphones. So these are pretty much kind of the workhorse of the industry, and they're pretty standard. Like I said, all of them have tiers that are lower than these and higher than these. For us as a company, when we recommend to our customers for installation, for integration and permanent installations, this is our baseline. We, in general, do not go lower than this, just because for those sorts of customers, it's not worthwhile to save $100, $200 on a wireless microphone, where if something goes wrong, they're gonna pay that again in a service call. So it makes more sense for them to spend a little bit more money to get something a little bit more reliable. Let's talk about what's similar and what's different. So we've already covered what's similar, right? They're all about $699, they're all UHF, they're all using standard capsules. Every single one of these will come with the ability to change capsules. You can get different capsules for them. You also have the ability to have a body pack transmitter, which you can pair an instrument cable or a headset mic. And a unique feature of the Sennheiser is in Sennheiser, and this has been true of most of all of their lines, is this is also compatible with the EW-DX transmitters. Whereas the other two, like, they are only compatible with their own ecosystem. The other big thing that's different here, as the name implies, SLX-D, EW-D, both of these units are digital units. The 3000 series is still analog. Analog isn't inherently worse or better than digital. There are pros and cons to both. The biggest pro to analog wireless is there's effectively zero latency. So as soon as you say something into the microphone, it's coming out of the microphone cable. Digital units tend to have better dynamic range and tend to have better frequency response. And I'll try my best to talk on the microphone while we're doing it. And once again, this is really not a great representation for testing wireless. You're gonna hear more of a difference between what the different brands' capsules are, most likely, than what you're gonna hear different on wireless. So I'm gonna start with this Shure, and we're just gonna go over its specs and see how it compares. All right, here I am on the Shure SM58 with the SLX-D wireless system. This has 3.2 milliseconds of latency. So just for reference, rough rule of thumb, lots of things apply here, but if I'm standing roughly 3 feet away from someone, the time it takes for the sound to come out of my mouth and hit their ears is about 3 milliseconds. So that's a very short amount of time. So although that this unit has the highest latency of the bunch, it's still more than adequate for live performance and shouldn't cause issues for performers. This also has 118 decibels of dynamic range. And so the dynamic range is the difference between the quietest quiets and the loudest louds. So it's how much space is there available to make a difference. This has a 44 megahertz tuning bandwidth. So from the lowest frequency it can get to the highest frequency, and we're not talking about sound frequencies, we're talking about wireless channel frequencies. And so on this unit, I can actually read it right here on the front of it. This one is 470 to 514 megahertz. And so those are what is the usable frequency range. And you're gonna wanna pick something that is based off of the area that you're using it in. One of the big differentiators between more cost-effective wireless and more expensive wireless is gonna be that bandwidth, that tuning bandwidth. More expensive units have a much, much larger range that they can tune through, which makes them much more flexible. So if you're thinking about, a touring artist, they probably want something with a very, very large tuning bandwidth. So regardless of where they go in the country or in the world, they will be able to use that same wireless system and get frequencies that work for them. The other thing that goes along with that is what are the steps that you can tune in? And I believe all these are the same. This one is a 25 kilohertz, so every single 25 kilohertz, you can have a new step that you can tune to. This unit has 32 channels available per band. So in the frequency band that you purchase this in, you, in theory, could have 32 available usable channels. The reality of that is the likelihood of you getting 32 channels, if you put all these 32 in a rack and wanted them all to work, that's probably not going to happen. Some of those are going to be unusable channels because there's TV stations broadcasting or other interference. So you probably won't get 32. Shure and most of these manufacturers actually will have utilities. I know Shure has one called the frequency finder, which will allow you to enter your zip code in and help you choose what frequency band might be right for you and give you a prediction of how many units you could use simultaneously. All right, let's go on to the Sennheiser. Sennheiser EW-D, just like the Shure, 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. That's the frequency response. You get the whole bandwidth, and that's the beauty of digital wireless. To get the signal to travel out over the air, it compresses the signal digitally, not analog, so we're not losing that frequency range. This has the best dynamic range of the whole bunch. This is 134 dB. It also has the lowest latency at 1.9 milliseconds. It also has a larger tuning bandwidth of 56 megahertz. So it is more than the EW-D, and it says that it can support up to 90 channels within that 54 megahertz, or 56 megahertz, I'm sorry. Like I said, you cannot expect to get 90 simultaneous channels of this. A lot of those are going to be stomped on by TV stations and other interference. I'll use this as a chance to talk about the build quality. I believe the Sennheiser one, not 100%, but the Sennheiser one, the receiver feels like plastic. The transmitter is definitely metal. Also, both the Shure microphone and the Audio-Technica microphone right out of the box, plug them in, turn them on, and they work. With the Sennheiser mic, I did have to get the app out to make it work. That being said, the Sennheiser mic uses a companion app that works over Bluetooth to configure multiple units simultaneously. So although it doesn't work out of the box, it does give the option to deploy and control lots of units from your smartphone, which is super convenient. All of these units will support control from a computer using their companion laptop software, where you can maintain multiple units, switch frequencies, do all sorts of great stuff. I believe the Shure microphone also has a companion app. I'm going to check that out in a minute, and I'll put it in this video if it does and if it works. Other things about the Sennheiser mic is the Sennheiser mic does have rechargeable batteries available for it. And on its rechargeable batteries, it will run for 12 hours. On AA's, it runs for 8. The Shure microphone on AA's, it runs for 8 hours, and on its rechargeable battery, it also runs for 8 hours. So anyway, I think we should get over to the Audio-Technica. All right, so this is the Audio-Technica microphone, and this one is analog. So what that means is no latency. There's 0 latency here. But we go from, instead of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz in the frequency response, we go from about 32 to about 16. So we lose a little bit of the low lows and a little bit of the high highs. In most applications where you're using wireless microphones, you're never going to notice that. I also think the Audio-Technica mic has a lot of perks, in addition to that low latency, that just makes general usability a little bit better. So like I mentioned, both of these two microphones, both the Shure and the Sennheiser, have rechargeable batteries available for them. Those are batteries made by both Shure and Sennheiser, and they're not inexpensive. They're between $50 and $80 per battery pack. With Shure, they make a charging dock where you can stick the whole microphone in the dock, charge the battery, and everything works great. I think it's a bummer. With Sennheiser, you actually have to pull the battery pack out of the unit and put it in its charger separately. They don't make a dock for the EW-D series. If that's a big hang up, you actually can buy the EW-DX transmitter, and they do make a charging dock for that one. So that is a difference there with Sennheiser. One of my favorite features about the Audio-Technica is not only does it have a rechargeable dock where you just place the microphone, whether it's the handheld microphone or the body pack microphone, directly in the charging dock, it also supports off-the-shelf rechargeable batteries. So in the manual, that lists a whole bunch of different batteries from, Energizer, Duracell, Inaloop that are compatible with the handheld microphones and the body pack microphones, as well as their charging dock. So to me, that's a huge feature. With the Audio-Technica microphone, you also have a 60 megahertz tuning bandwidth, which is the broadest of the bunch. And it supports up to 40 channels per band. And like I said, you're not gonna get all 40. But all those frequencies are there, which gives you the flexibility to dodge the TV channels or other interference that are in your area. This also has, like all the others, a 25 kilohertz step in between all those frequency bands. And the Audio-Technica has one more secret. Although every single thing you see on the table is $699, Audio-Technica sells this exact microphone system without network connectivity for $599. So if you don't need to control these from a computer and monitor them and do all that sort of stuff, you can save $100 and have the exact same microphone with the exact same performance and come in at $100 less than either the Shure or the Sennheiser. I think at this point, we should probably talk about the ergonomics and what's going on with the receivers and with the transmitters. So with the Shure receiver, you get a pretty straightforward interface. Like I said, they do group and channels, the prominent information that you get, as well as RF meter, which I just turn on the microphone, you see that. And if I start talking it, you get a level meter right there on the left. So you get a level meter, RF meter, your group and channel, your battery level. And then if you see really small, you still are gonna get what frequency you're on, which I think is a huge plus. You can go into the menus and you can change your frequency, your channels, your gain, your micro line level. I'm going to advanced setting, device lock, network configuration. You can have different presets. You can reset the thing. And then I also like that there's still an IR port on front, and I like that there's a sync button, so it's easy to quickly sync microphones to the receiver. So on the transmitters, you get good information. You get the frequency, you get your battery level, and like I said, this has regular alkaline batteries in it, but if you have their rechargeable batteries, you'll actually get battery in time, which is a really nice feature. A simple on-off switch. And then you also have the menus where you can go through and set gain and do lots of different functions that you would traditionally be able to do on a wireless microphone system. So for the Sennheiser mic, you actually don't have much here. You've got a mute switch, and then you've got a power switch, and then the sync switch. And that sync switch is used not really, it is used to pair the microphone to the receiver, but mostly it's used in conjunction with the application. So I think the Sennheiser receiver has a fantastic looking screen. You get RF meter, bold and prominent. If we get this going, you get an audio level meter, bold and prominent. You get what frequency you're on, you get your battery level, and I think that for me, those are the main ones. That's what you get. The other great functions on this is you also get what your sensitivity is set to for both the transmitter and the receiver. Here you can go through the menus. Oops, that's the name. If you go to set, it's going to bring up your gain, your lockout, or your audio output, your mute, auto scan, channel, tune, reset, all your standard functions. And here's the Audio-Technica receiver. So this one, like I said, you get battery level, your RF level, and then your audio level over there on the right-hand side. You can also, if you just really care about RF and audio level, you can turn the knob and you can get those meters nice and huge, if that's a big concern of yours, which it probably should be. From here, you've got a knob that's push, and it'll bring you to your different settings. So you can go into your frequency, you can change your frequency settings. I'm not gonna change it because it'll disconnect the microphone. Network settings, frequency settings, names, utilities, all your standard functions that you would have. On the transmitter, there's a nice little screen here that's going to tell you your battery level and what frequency you're on. And that little antenna icon lets you know that you're actually connected to a unit, to a receiver. And the rest of the controls are in here. So here's where we have our on-off switch, as well as a full menu where you can change frequencies, gains, all the standard things that you would do on a transmitter, you can do right here from these buttons. So that's super handy. That's also where you have your IR port, so you can do syncing wirelessly, just like the Shure unit. You do your syncing on Sennheiser through Bluetooth. Audio-Technica also has another trick up its sleeve. Say, for example, you don't want an Audio-Technica capsule. This will accept all Audio-Technica capsules. However, that may look familiar to you. It will accept any Shure capsule as well. So if you have someone that is very, very particular about which capsule they want, you can actually screw Shure capsule directly on an Audio-Technica handheld microphone. So anyway, I don't think you can make a wrong choice purchasing any of the microphones on this table. There's pros and cons to each one, and if you need help deciding which one's right for you, feel free to leave a comment below, give us a call, or shoot us an email. Thanks so much.